Hi everyone, I'm Jim, and welcome back to week 5 of The Takeaway. What does it mean for someone to be trustworthy? Have you ever heard that word before, trustworthy? It means that someone is reliable, that they're dependable, that someone's going to be there for you when you need them. They aren't going to forget about you, and they're going to keep their promises to you. Who in your life is trustworthy? Can you count on your parents, your teachers, your close friends to keep their promises and to care for you? I hope so, because it is so important to have people in our lives that we can count on, especially when we feel scared or alone, or when we feel anxious or worried about something. And when was the last time that you felt that way? Were you anxious about starting school this year? Were you sad about something that happened in your family or in our city? What did you do when you felt sad, felt alone, or worried? One thing that I know that I sometimes do is I try to fix it myself. And for some small problems, and maybe even an occasional big problem, I can fix it. But more often than not, if I try to do something on my own and fix it, I can't. Because here's the thing, we weren't meant to do everything on our own. When we feel scared or worried, we were made by God to ask trustworthy people for help. And no one is more trustworthy than God himself. Jesus taught a large crowd this lesson in Matthew's gospel, where he pointed to the birds flying around and he asked the crowd if they've ever seen a bird go to the grocery store, stocking up on some food. Of course not. Birds don't go to Kroger, but God still takes care of them. Jesus then pointed out to the flowers and he asked the people if they have ever seen them worry about finding just the right outfit of clothes to wear. Well, of course flowers don't worry about clothes, but don't they look so beautiful? God sends rain and sunshine, and he's made them in all sorts of vibrant colors. Jesus was making this point, that God can be counted on to keep his promises. And we see him keeping his promises to birds and flowers, and we know that he will keep his promises to us. After all, Jesus says, you and I are more valuable than a bird or a flower. So when you're scared, when you're worried or feeling alone, you don't have to try and figure it out. You can trust God because he is trustworthy. God keeps his promises. Now this week, I am really excited to have Leland show us how she can do a few things in the kitchen. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Hi, I'm Leland, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make chocolate chip cookies.
Oh!
Get all your ingredients out that you need. Once you have all your ingredients out, you need to preheat the oven. Combine the flour, baking soda, and salt together in a bowl like this. So when you are mixing dry ingredients, it's best to use a whisk because a whisk helps get all the chunks and little bumps out so that it mixes together better. Okay, once they're mixed together, the next step is to get a large mixing bowl. In the mixing bowl, put in your butter, but the butter has to be softened. Now that the butter is soft, it says to beat the butter, granulated sugar, which is the white sugar, brown sugar, and vanilla. Now the next step is to add the egg. And then, okay, now you can mix in the egg. Now it says to mix this in gradually, which means a little bit at a time. So just add a little bit of the flour mixture to the mixing bowl, and then let it mix in, and just keep doing this until all the flour is added. Okay, so once all the flour is added, your batter should look a little bit like this. So the next step is the best step, where you add the chocolate chips. You can just dump them in and just let it mix for a second and maybe grab a couple for a snack. Once all the chocolate chips are mixed in, the next step is to get a baking sheet out. And you can either use one of these things, which is called a pie pat, or you can put parchment paper on it, or you can just grease it with some cooking spray, just so we make sure the cookies don't stick to the bottom. Now, we're going to take, you can use a spoon, or a teaspoon, or a tablespoon, or even an ice cream scooper to scoop little balls of your cookie dough down onto the baking tray.
C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. Oh, cookie, 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 start to seed.
They should be nice and golden on the top and dark around the edges. Well, once they're cooled down enough, you can eat one, and this is the best part. We did a good job. Well, happy baking.
Thanks, Leland. That looked so amazing. One of the things that I've learned about baking is that it's really important to follow the recipe. Baking really is a science, and you have to trust those instructions, or else your cake or your cookies or whatever, it's just not going to turn out right. And we need to trust God no matter what. If we try to do it on our own, it probably isn't going to work out. But we know that God loves us, and He will take care of us because He is trustworthy and true. And that, my friends, is the takeaway. I'll see you next time.